Welcome back. We're so glad we're back and you're back and we're all back. We got our coffees full. Pretty excited about this next guest. It's funny when we were talking, we have a few connections. We're not going to talk about this time, but maybe next time we do an interview, we'll sit down and we'll talk about it. But we do have Mr. D. Paul Fleming, Royal Highness D. Paul Fleming. How are you today,
Front and
sir?
center, baby. Front and
Front and
center. Ready for the Keepy
center.
Coffee Show. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. No decaf here. Absolutely not. We've got a lot to talk about in just a little bit of time. Mr. Our Royal Highness D. Paul Fleming, as you were. He's got a lot of things going on right now, so I'm just gonna turn the mic over to him and let him introduce himself and tell us what's going on, and then we'll dig a little deeper. Your Highness, please elaborate.
What did, what did, what did Steve Martin say? I was born a poor.
Poor black child.
That's who it was. That was Steve Martin. It
He
all
hates these
started out when I
cans.
was born a.
He hates these cans.
Unbelievable. I was born a poor Native American child cast into the wilderness.
And what did you do from that point there, Mr. Fleming?
Well, kidding aside, I've written books on the abuse that I survived growing up. 142 Steps to Crazy. If you grew up in the 60s and 70s and survived into the 80s, and that book will kind of remind you of what it was like to grow up in in a world that didn't love you back. Right?
Right? Is that available online or
Yeah,
is it? Okay.
yeah. You can
Do
get
you
it.
have
You can get anything I write on Amazon. You know,
Amazon? Okay.
for our fellow vets, I got a book out there called A Date with Suicide, especially people who are not vets, because those are the ones that seem to have bought it more.
Hmm.
Well, people want to understand why, 50 plus vets a day are committing suicide. I know the
Sure.
popular number is 22, but I've spent decades dealing with that topic, and I can tell you the statistics and the research documents show that it's north of 50 a day and growing,
Sure.
unfortunately.
Sure. Do you want to show the book so people can see that as
Yeah,
well?
yeah. A
A,
Date with Suicide,
a
right?
date with
Date
suicide.
with
And
Suicide.
we'll have links for it below, so if anybody wants it, we'll be able to
No.
go ahead and click on that.
Yeah. So
And
if you're looking to understand why 50 plus vets a day are taking their lives, that book will give you insight. And if you know someone that's struggling, buy it for them, right?
sure,
You know,
absolutely.
I've had a
Absolutely.
lot of vets. I've had a lot of vets come back and tell me flat out that book saved my life or helped me get on a path and so on. So stuff I write's pretty powerful stuff.
I also see here that you've got one Mysteries at the Wyndham Inn. Is that true?
Hey baby, hey baby, hey baby, mysteries at the Wyndham Inn.
What is the
Spooky
feral?
season.
What is the feral feline? What is that?
So you want to dive right into this, right?
Let's go.
Okay.
Explain to
True,
me.
true story. Guy I grew
Okay.
up with, haven't seen him in decades, stopped at my house out of the blue. Starts telling me about when he lived at the Wyndham Inn, which is only a couple miles from where I am. All right. So I've always driven by there. I've always seen the ghosts and the spirits in there, and I've seen the woman that was hanged, 300 years ago. But I've seen her for decades. All right.
What state is this in?
Connecticut.
Connecticut. Okay.
There's eight
There's all
counties.
kinds of spooky shit going on there.
Yes. There's 8 counties in Wyndham or in Connecticut, and Wyndham is one of them. And the Wyndham Inn was one of the first, if not the first, in Wyndham, the Wyndham part of Wyndham, so to speak.
Sure.
Anyway, so this guy, old friend, came out of the blue, started telling me about this cat that used to haunt him in his dreams, and he would see the cat at the Wyndham Inn when he lived there, and he just started telling me about this story. And as he's telling me this, I can hear the spirit world saying to me, "You know why he's telling you this, right? You need to write the book. You need to tell the story. We're lining up ghost writers to help you tell the story." I said, "Great. So why don't you have them write it?" I was like, "No, you don't understand. Those ghost
The
writers are
ghosts are
actual
ghosts.
ghosts, right? Right? So that's kind of how it started. And I looked at Gary, who's the main character in this book now,
Uh huh.
and I said to him, "I'll tell you what. I'll write the book, but I'm going to make you famous." And he kind of chuckled. How's it looking now?
So what is the storyline on this? Is it a cat that's haunting the place? Is it a cat that that's being controlled by the ghosts? What are we go? Where are we going on this?
So this is one of the most haunted properties you'll ever bump into.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine, he started Northeast or Eastern Connecticut State Paranormal
Okay.
investigations. Right, I was spending time with him. We weren't real close, but we were talking back and forth and so on. He knew I was going to be writing this book, and he had just finished up his second paranormal investigation in this place. And in between that window, I hadn't seen him, and I know he was completing his second investigation. I had this dream that said 3 paranormal investigators will have to die before the true mysteries within the mystery at the Wyndham Inn will be revealed. Didn't pay it much attention. I wrote it in my log, and time goes by. Another book that I wrote came out, and he wanted to see that book, and I'm reaching out to him, and he's not getting back to me. Month goes by, 2 months go by, and I see this post that says they're having a memorial service for this guy. And I'm like, holy Lord. So now I start looking into him spiritually. He, I'm not going to get into what happened to him. Yeah, you have to be careful when you're playing with the spirit world. I mean,
Absolutely.
we're talking with levity and humor and ghosts and everything, but my main mission is to remove darkness and help people, white light
Sure.
folks, kind of get out of trouble with the spirit world, and that's where my focus is. I'm not a big time ghost hunter. I'm more of the guy they call when you need to when
The
the other folks have
troubles.
identified what it is and they need someone to
Right.
get it the hell out of there.
Yeah. See, I'm the total
That's what I'm doing.
opposite. Yeah, I'm the recreational ghost hunter that I love the history, I love the background, I like to know why it is, I like to interact with it. But when it comes to certain things like the demonology and the dark side, and that to me, that's bad juju. I turn and I just go the other direction. I do believe what you're saying, 100%, and I'm not qualified to be able to deal with. Anytime I would start to do a little bit of investigating, it would always counteract itself. At this point, I don't want to say I'm afraid of the demons, but I have a fearful respect that you know what you're doing. You can go and I'll listen to stories and I'll write about them and I'll tell about them and that's fantastic. But I myself, I have no desire to go down that dark road. But since you do, what took you down that road? What made you decide, like, hey, I prefer this over that? Or what called you in to do the darker side and the eviler spirits, which will bring us around to you being a Native American holy man, which I'd like to know about. I really would. I know that's nothing to take lightly, and I don't. I spent a couple years in New Mexico, and outside where the tribes and on the tribal areas, I had a lot of friends that were Native Americans, and they would tell me stories about the skinless horse and different things like that, and I believe them just simply because I have an open mind. But please take us there, Your Highness.
Olay! Right? Okay. This is a serious topic now, damn it.
Yes, it is. I'm sorry, a little levity there.
So humor kind of pushed to the side just for a moment, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Look, folks that want to play around with Ouija boards, or to be blunt, if you want to fuck with the dark side, you're opening up a can of shit that you ain't going to be able to get back in.
I
Right? I mean,
totally agree.
okay, just, you know, it's not a game.
Right.
When you can see darkness, and I mean darkness, and you can feel it, listen, man, you'll learn it's not a game as quick as it gets. For me, my whole life has been surrounded by spirits and seeing some of the craziest stuff. I always knew that I was called to be a healer because I could see white light beings, and when I would pray openly, I could be praying right now while I'm talking to you if I see something, okay?
Sure.
But I could connect white light beings, healers from the spirit world, with the living who needed or need help. So I've seen that. I've been able to do that my whole life. The first time that I really knew it was, I had a gifts, was when I was in high school, and a classmate, girl I was fond of, had gotten sick. And I happened to be with her one day coming back from treatment, and I could feel the darkness inside of her. Not dark evil, dark, disease. All right, and I could see these things There's these dark spots inside of her. And when I reached out and said, "Listen, God, you gotta help her," right? I could see this white light start to appear. So the more I would pray, the more that light would come closer, and then I would connect the two. So people that think I have the ability to heal you, you're missing the point. I have the ability to be the conduit to connect Great Spirit, God, Jesus, whatever you believe in, with the people that need healing. But the people that need healing, you have to accept it and you have to have the faith. And it's
Sure.
between you and God, not me. I don't make the decisions on whether you heal or not. To give you an example, the 15-year-old kid they just canonized, he's now a saint, right? He died of leukemia, but at the same time, he healed a kid with cancer. One of his miracles, right? Healed a kid
Hmm.
with cancer, yet he died of leukemia at 15. Now he's a saint. How's that work, right? How's that work? Well, listen, everybody's here with a path and a mission, and that kid's mission was limited to 15 years. And clearly, he was here to do things and then die, and some people call it a martyr, others call it a saint, right?
Sure.
Okay. So with that kind of in mind, the healing part as a young kid, the seeing ghosts and all that was, something I was able to do for forever. But unless you have somebody really guiding you from an early day, and I was on my own. So I did everything I could to shy away from it,
Sure.
and make it not be real. But time and life just kind of kept coming at me, and I would see more. And the more I tried to block it, the more I would see. And eventually, I finally said, "Fine, whatever. Let me get down this path." So for the last decade, I've been focused on what it is I'm here to do on behalf of Great Spirit. These podcasts are part of it, telling my story. Right? I learned as I trained to be a holy man and a shaman and so on, that part of my suffering, the things I've dealt with in life, in telling that story, you turn it over to the tribe, if you will, or the community. So as much as I didn't, why would anybody want to write the book, A Date with Suicide? Okay. Well, I didn't. Okay. But you can only piss the baby Jesus off so many times before he's going to come down here and bitch slap you once or twice. Right. So when he says, write the damn book, okay, and he's standing there with his arms crossed and tapping his toe, with little bolts of lightning coming out his toenails, it's time to sit down and write the book. And that's kind of how my life goes. I have a deep, deep faith, and I'm guided and driven by Great Spirit, God,
Sure.
Jesus, the baby Jesus, Mother Mary. I have two things. I am a big believer in the baby Jesus.
Sure.
Okay, big believer. But I'm as big of a believer in my Native Americanism and all the things that go along with it. And the two aren't separate. They are one. They both believe in the Trinity and so on and so on. So from me, religion and spirituality are two completely different things. And both of them, to me, are deeply, deeply personal. I didn't want to talk to anybody about my faith and my spirituality. But again,
Sure.
I'm called to do it. I'm pretty good at it. As you keep calling me, Your Highness, right?
Your
That's
Highness.
hey now, okay?
For people that are trying to figure out why we're saying Your Highness, it was just a running joke that you and I, when we first started talking before the show, I asked, in reference to your book, what you wanted to be called by, and we both had kind of the same sense of humor. And you said Your Highness as a joke, and I'm like, well, you know what? I'm gonna do it.
Well,
So
I got to
now
correct you. I said Your Royal Highness. You're the one that took the Navy lead and shortened it on us. Okay?
I do
You know,
apologize, my Royal Highness.
damn it, it's not it's Your Royal
It's
Highness.
your Royal
That's
Highness.
it.
Your
I'm sending
my
the Royal
God.
Guard.
So anyway, D. Paul Fleming, get his books on Amazon. Are they available on audiobooks?
Yes.
They are okay.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
myself personally, I do a lot of traveling, and sometimes I just get bored with the radio, and I'll pop on an audiobook. And for long drives, they're awesome.
Yeah.
I absolutely love long books. So I will definitely check out Mysteries at the Wyndham Inn. That sounds interesting. Is it one long story or is it short stories?
Well, that's a great question. Is it one long story? So each book, each book continues. Okay.
How many
So,
books are there?
well, the second book comes out later this year. So the first book was just released October 1st,
Oh,
right?
a newbie. Right
Okay,
on.
so it's just now making the rounds, and so far I've gotten all 5-star reviews, and a couple of them were pretty wild. One of them was, if you can believe it, a 5-star review that starts like this. Okay, where the hell do I start? You suck! Exclamation point, exclamation point. I'm like, 5-star review that says you
You
suck.
suck.
Well, after that, it says bang, bang, bang. Now, when you read the book, you'll know what that means. Okay.
Okay.
But the person who wrote that review was so frustrated. Okay. So she said, I am so confused. What is this mystery? Okay. Well, my
Right.
response to her was simple. Maybe you better read the book twice. Okay. And she kind of looked at it. She's like, how many books can you buy where you can read this book 2 or 3 times or listening to it on audio 2 or 3 times and still not pick up all the nuances wrapped inside this enigma? Okay, because
Sure.
here's the thing, there are codes in this thing that the reader has to figure out, because there's hidden treasures that the folks that are now renovating the Wyndham Inn, they found
Hmm.
one of them. They just don't know what to do with it yet. And in listening to the messages when I'm writing this book, they keep telling me, they keep walking me down this path about this mystery inside the mystery. Now, I understand where it's going, and my job, my mission here is to lead the readers into their own, let them figure out how to decode the mysteries, the secrets within the secrets. It's fascinating stuff.
And I lost you. Paranormals.
I am so glad you said that, because if you knew how many times it happened to me, I've had
Yeah.
sparks come off the computer. I've seen right off to the side, I've seen mini explosions pop, and then the computer drops. But
Yeah.
this one was your fault, by the way.
It's always my fault because you're your Royal Highness.
Right? Right?
Absolutely. So getting back to our questions here, now I just lost my whole train of thought. Walking the two roads. You talk about religion and spirituality. What is the difference on that? What is a heyoka? Is that how you say that? What is that?
Compound questions will confuse me.
Okay, I'll talk slower. What is, I do need to say it. You and I have been joking around a lot,
Yeah.
but both of us take this very serious and we are serious about it. So just because there's a chuckle and a laugh and a joke thrown in there, I mean no disrespect to you, to the spirit world, or to anything along those lines. And I have to put that out there because I have done a few and said a few things where it's coming full circle and bit me in the ass, for lack of better words. So I have nothing but respect towards everything and everybody. So when I ask a question, it's out of respect, not as a joke.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
I get it. So,
Well, I'm worried about the internet dropping out on us again. So, I mean, whether it pisses you off or not is a whole nother thing.
I hear you.
Anyway, and go.
So, religion and spirituality, to me, they are either interchangeable or two opposite sides of a coin. Religion, meaning organized rules, things you got to follow, things you got to say, do, so on. Spirituality, to me, is a closeness with the Creator. It's how you really interact with the spirit world. Again, I think organized religion is a great thing it's a great thing, period. My wife is Irish Catholic. We raised all our children Irish Catholic. I'm a firm believer in the Catholic Church. But in the same breath, if I had to say I agree with 50% of their stuff and I don't agree with 50%, okay, that I might not be far off, okay, but I don't badmouth it. In the same breath, my spirituality would run into conflict with certain things with the Catholic Church, right, or any church for that matter. All right,
Sure.
I believe that all things have energy, okay, without question. All right, whether it's a rock, a tree, right, it's nature. If it's made up of something that's moving, even a stone is moving. Molecules in motion. Glass is a solid, but it's really a liquid because it never stops moving, right? So to me, religion and spirituality are interchangeable to me, okay, with the distinctions that I made. But again, it's a deeply personal approach to the spirit world between any living person and what's on the other side of the veil. Okay, I spend a fair amount of time talking about Great Spirit, but to me, Great Spirit, God, the baby Jesus, Mother Mary, it's all one, and they're all interchangeable.
What exactly is a heyoka? Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, sure. Hayoka is a
Hayoka.
term given
Okay.
to somebody normally at birth. I shouldn't say that. Let me say it differently. The title "A Seasoned Holy Man" was given to me by Granddaughter Crow from the Navajo Reservation. Granddaughter Crow does some amazing stuff. Her formal title is Dr. Joy Gray. She's got a PhD in leadership, and she's a hell
Mm-hmm.
of a well-traveled gal. But she's also a Native American who I've learned a lot from, and I'd like to spend more time with her.
Sure.
She bestowed on me the title of a seasoned holy man. And that's a long conversation, but in its short breath, it's somebody who can, like a shaman, be a go-between between the spirit world and the living. A Hayoka, on the other hand, is for me it was something that I was born with. Everything that happens, I look at it from a perspective that nobody else does, or very few people will. So, like throwing humor into extremely serious topics. A date with suicide. How do you get jokes inside a book titled A Date with Suicide? Well, I did, and I'm successful at it. Because while it's very serious, we still have to find ways to communicate these things, right? So, what is a
Correct.
Hayoka? A Hayoka is somebody who would ride through a Native American village backwards on his horse while having a conversation about things that nobody is paying attention to, right? A Hayoka is someone who sees the herd of sheep kind of moving around, and when somebody says, "All right, everybody turn left," a Hayoka will look and say, "Why? Why are we turning left?" Well, the rest of the sheep kind of just turn left, right? They follow the sheep
Right.
or whoever's got the gun or the shears, right? So, right? So a Hayoka is really somebody who comes at things from a completely different angle than is common and can bring to the table fresh, new perspectives on the same topics that are, plaguing what people are searching for answers for.
So, being that it's the Halloween time here now, not to get off topic here, but it
Okay.
is. Yeah, it's my favorite time of the year, obviously with creepy coffees. But according to, I've read your bio and looked over some of your stuff. I have not read your book yet, but I will. Well, I'll listen to it. I'm traveling tomorrow, so while I'm in the air, I'll be listening to your book. Just know that. So, with all the investigate, yay, Your Royal Highness. With all the investigations you've done, and I'm sure you've been asked this a bazillion times, just like I have, what's the most intense, scariest, or dangerous thing you've had to confront, and how did you react to it, and what were the circumstances around it?
Yeah, again, I'm going to give you an overview, but if you
Sure,
if you want to have me on again, we can dive deep into this. Let me take the
sure.
let me take the scariest thing first. So what I had to learn to do was overcome the fear of the unknown before before I was able to go out and truly remove darkness. You know, get it out of here.
Hmm.
Right. In the course of learning to not have fear, you have to face a lot of things that you don't necessarily want to face. So,
Right.
like everything else in life, right? Going to boot camp, it's terrifying until you get out of it, and it's like, yeah, that was easy. Spirit world is the same thing. Once you learn, like what is a poltergeist? Most people think a poltergeist is this monstrosity of something that's, the epitome of all evil. The reality is that every poltergeist that I've come up against is nothing more than a ball of energy that more times than not started from families bickering and fighting and creating that negative energy that we create when we fight with each other, right? Well, that
Right.
negative energy has to go somewhere. And in people's houses, it usually collects in the mirrors or in the kitchen floor, wherever they are, wherever the fights are the. So if you walk into a house that's just clear, it's all clean, it's got no darkness in it at all. People go in, they live there, and they do things. Negative energy is created over time. Each piece of that negative energy, like a tumbleweed, right? Nobody ever watches a tumbleweed get built. They just see the after effect, a big ball rolling across the,
Sure.
the desert, right? Well, to me, a poltergeist is the same thing. It's a collection of anger and negative energy created by the living that over time collects like a tumbleweed. And like all things, with energy, eventually it develops its own conscience, its own ability to do things like throw shit across the room. When things start getting thrown, that's usually when I get called in. When I had to deal with my first poltergeist, yeah, I was nervous, but the folks I was with said, look, you have to shake all fear, because if you have fear, that's what the darkness feeds on. So that was the trickiest thing for me to do. And the easiest way to do that is once you stare at a demon, how many times can they change into different nasty looking whatevers?
Right.
To me, it's better if they dressed up like a well-balanced blonde with these bazungas, right? Because now they
Like
would
in
distract me,
Bedazzled with Elizabeth Hurley.
right? They would, if they would distract me now. So after I've done enough clearing and I did enough work in this to remove darkness, it's more matter of fact. So what was one of the, I don't want to say scariest, but toughest things that I did? I had to do an exorcism on somebody I knew. The demon that was inside of him, the darkness that was inside of him, was a trickster. And they tricked me, which is dangerous as hell. Okay? Because if you're staring at evil and you think it's something else, your focus isn't where it needs to be. And that's all that darkness needs to lock onto you. And then once it locks onto you, look, this is in the book. There's a guy an old man who has a heart attack. Read the story as to why he has his heart attack. But if
Right.
darkness can get a hold of you, it can do some damage quickly.
See, that's interesting you say that, because as you were talking, I was thinking that when you do like the degaussing rods and you go to these little spiritual things and they got the voice boxes and whatnot, I was told to be very cautious because spirits will lie to you. Get exactly what you were saying. They're tricky. They'll lie to you. So my question is, and I've been really thinking on it, and nobody's been able to answer it. When you're doing these degaussing rods or the spirit boxes, and you're hearing these voices and these working back and forth and communication, what's to say that that's not an evil spirit just telling you what you want to hear to attach itself to you? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. The answer is you have to trust your inner voice. Okay? The way that this works for almost everybody is you can feel evil and you have to trust what you feel. For me, it's odd, but I don't feel evil. This is where it gets dangerous for me. My wife, on the other hand, she can sense it like there's no tomorrow. To give you an example, we were looking at this particular property because my wife had a construction company back some years ago. And we went to this old property. It's a couple 100-year-old property, old original farmhouse, and had wings built on it and all this. Okay, had 7-foot ceilings. I mean, it was an old New England farmhouse. When I got to the property, I had a sense, but I wasn't in I'm coming here to chase darkness mode. I was in, I was looking at some land and a house. So I was just kind of nonchalant. And as I'm walking the property, the outside of the property, this hawk is up above and he's screaming away. Now, Hark's one of my guides, so I'm always listening for him, right? Well, sometimes you see him too many times and you don't pay attention. So I did. I paused and I said, man, I'm not here investigating. I'm not here doing anything. What are you trying to tell me? So I said, maybe it's that I'm not approaching it from the right, and doing the right circles and so on. So I said, all right, so I started circling the right way and so on. And then when I walked in through the door, as soon as I stepped over that threshold, man, the senses came alive. It was like walking into, I don't want to say a sauna, but it was that type of thing that hit you. So these are all indications that every person has to figure out what senses are triggered for them when you're getting near darkness, evil. And then again, how powerful is that evil entity? Because I can protect myself and I can protect others by wrapping them in spiritual protection so that darkness can't get to them. Well, if you think darkness can't do the same, of course they can. So that's how they are tricky. All right. This particular property that I was looking at, when my wife came through the door, she stopped dead and said, man, all right, this is evil. She made it another 10 or 12 feet inside the house. We went up these small stairs. And as soon as we went up into this little attic space, I can see this shadowy black blob. And it had cords to 2 children. Now there's a third person in there, but I still can't see the third spirit that's trapped or stuck to this dark entity. All right. Now I wasn't there to remove it, and I wasn't invited by the property owners to remove.
Right.
Okay.
Do you
Universal.
have to be invited?
See,
Okay.
there's where I follow universal law. Universal law from the spirit world says, cause no harm, cause no interference. So it's not my house. If somebody said to me, I want you to heal all the people that go on the Creepy Coffee podcast today. Okay. My answer is, listen, I can open up the door and anybody who wants it can access it. But I can't send healing unless I'm invited to. Again, cause no harm, cause no interference. So in this house, there really wasn't anything I could do because I didn't want to interfere with the people's property. When we went back
Sure.
outside, one of the neighbors, who happens to be a relative, pushing 90 years old, says, she's coming up the driveway, and I'm looking at her. I have never met this one before. And I said, you're Minnie Ha-Ha. She stops in the driveway. She looks, she goes, how did you know my name? Nobody knows my full name. The spirit world just told me. Anyway, when her and I were talking, I said, who was murdered in the house? And she says, oh my God, nobody was murdered. Somebody was shot, but nobody was murdered. And I said,
Yeah,
okay,
there's a difference.
right? Well, I could see that somebody was murdered. And I can see
Right.
it, I can sense it, I can feel it. And to kind of emphasize that point, my wife and I are coming back from a veterans event in Missouri. It's the middle of the night. We had to stop for sleep. And we stopped at a flea bag hotel. Good Lord, please, why did I ever do this? As soon as we stepped across the threshold, again, the thresholds are key, okay? As soon as we stepped across the threshold, all I could hear was murder, 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 solve my murder. So my poor wife and I had to lie in bed, kind of wrapped in this bubble of white light, while these effing spirits were begging me to help solve their murder. At the same time, there were other spirits there that were trying to get my attention. So for me, that's kind of how my life works. And then if you put me on a show like yours, I'll go down these rabbit holes like I just did for half an hour. So we
That's
need
okay.
a little sign language, right? A little slap to the head, a little enough, hey, break, okay? And I'll shut up.
No, I'm gonna let you talk. I'm loving this. This is well. That's come on, creepy coffees. I love hearing about stuff like that.
Doo doo
That
doo doo. Doo
Yeah,
doo doo doo.
exactly. And I have like a bazillion questions that I ask other people that they come on or I run across and they're like, I don't know, But you're the first person finally that's been able to give me some sort of answer,
Do you
I
know why?
guess.
Do you know why?
No, I don't.
There's
No,
two
tell me
reasons.
why.
There's two reasons. One is I've spent a lifetime studying this. And two is I'm surrounded by spirit guides, angels, and folks that tell me both how to answer these questions and which direction to take certain things. So sometimes when I get off on these tangents, okay, I'm telling you, spirit is talking through me and they want certain things said.
Sure.
Let me give you a short story on that.
Okay.
30 plus years ago, my wife and I are in this hometown bar. Okay. It's a Friday night, and, we're doing what reasonably young people do when they're trying to abandon their children for, 2, 3,
A
4 hours,
few
right?
hours. Yeah,
On a
right?
Friday night when, you don't have any Friday nights left in you. Okay. Well, we're in this bar and it's packed, hometown bar, and this girl brushes up against my arm, and when she touched my skin, again, I don't like to be touched because I feel when I touch people, I can see things that I don't necessarily want to see, or I pick up things that I
Right.
don't want to. Well, this girl brushed my arm, and without skipping a beat, I just looked at her and said, "You have cancer." Okay. Now imagine a poor woman who has no idea who I am, right? I have no idea who she is. I just said to her, "Oh, you have cancer." And her boyfriend, who happened to be 11 foot 9 inches tall, saw the look on her face, okay? Like I must have just said the worst thing possible to her. Now I can feel his anger building, okay? And her mouth dropped. And she looks at me and she goes, "How did you know?" "I just found out this morning." Okay. Now I tell you that story because I have to be very careful when I'm around people, okay? Because there are times that I cannot control what flows through me. And I will
Sure.
look and say things, and before I don't it's blank in my head and just comes right out, okay? And I do it so often, and it pisses off people so badly that they need to know how I knew. So in the course of doing an interview with you, and probably more down the road, the same thing is going to happen for you. And I'm being told for some of your guests. A couple of your guests are going to, a couple of your guests are going to call you up and say, "I want him back on your show." Watch. You watch. And that call won't be more than 24 hours from now, 48 hours from now.
That they're going to want me on their
Nope,
show
they're going
or
to
I'm going to
want
want
you to
them?
get me back on your show. They're going to want to hear more. They're going
Well,
to want to hear
good,
more.
because I'm
You're going to be
already,
popular, Coffee Man.
yay, popular.
You're going to get 100
So
likes.
there you go, my Royal Highness. So
Your,
your Royal, oh my,
your.
I, you know what?
What are we going to
Moving
do?
forward. So when you talk about all that, is that what you mean by when you refer to yourself as like the hollow bone?
Yes,
That you're just the shell and things come through you?
yes. So again, if somebody walked up to me and said, I'll give you $1 million to heal me, I've got a scrape on my arm. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My answer is listen, keep your money because it's not up to me. All right.
Right.
I can move the light, I can bring it to you, but you have to accept it. So if you want to shine white light on the devil, listen, it's not going to happen, right? Dorothy, right? It's going to melt the witch. Okay.
Right.
Okay. It's just not going to happen. You have to accept it. So the way I learned to refer to myself is a hollow bone. And that phrase kind of came from Chief Foolscrow from the Lakota. I've read all his books, never met him. He died at 99 years old. Chief Foolscrow. If you ever want to read some wild books along with Granddaughter Crow, Chief Foolscrow's got some.
Which will be linked down below.
Yeah, you ought to get Granddaughter Crow on your podcast. That woman's got some stuff to tell you.
Some stories, yeah.
But not.
Well, we still got
She's different
so much to.
than I am, but
Uh-huh.
she's got a wealth of knowledge. I mean, a wealth of knowledge.
We still got so much to uncover with you that, and we're running out of time here as it is. So we're probably going to end up talking to you again here, like what's today? Wednesday? No, I'm just kidding. I mean, soon. Yeah, absolutely. I would love to hear some more of your stories. And I have a ton of questions. And I want to give you a quick chance to go ahead and recap everything that you've put out there, your books, everything you've done, and whatever you or the spirits are telling you to say right now. Please, the floor is yours.
So the first thing you have to do is sponsor Creepy Coffee. Okay, you have got to get our man at Creepy Coffee 10,000 followers. Okay, sponsors. This guy is going places. I'm telling you that the spirit world is telling me that he's a great guy. All right, so let's get some more sponsorships going on with you. You know what? You ought to get Bearded Vets Coffee. Okay, that's a 70-year-old Navy vet, or no, I'm sorry, he's a Marine. He's got a coffee.
Well, I would, except that I've got my own coffee coming out at the end of the month. Creepy Coffee's Coffee.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, that'll be available at the end of the month, which I'll send you a bag of it for being on. I was going to tell you that. Surprise! You ruined the surprise. But I've got that coming out. I've also got a book coming out of short stories later this month, right in time for Halloween. It's a mixture of true crime, fiction, and horror. So it's a lot of it, the true crime and the horror are based off of my experiences because I've experienced a lot of crazy things as well. A lot when I lived in New Mexico and I lived in Utah when I was younger. And so I've got some crazy stories to tell too. But I put them in a book. So that's coming out. And yeah, I absolutely loved having you on here, Your Royal Highness. I got it right. And I definitely want to go ahead and bring you back on. But before we do that, let's talk about your books one more time. All the links are going to be available below. There's Mysteries at the Wyndham Inn, The Feral Feline, and another book you said's coming out. When is the next one coming
So
out?
book 2 of the mystery series is out at the end of the year, and that one's
Okay.
the Feral Feline and the Pesky Orb. Okay, when you read
Oh,
book 1, you'll understand why.
are you going to combine the two and make like a package deal?
Um,
You know what would be
I don't
cool?
know.
Honestly, put them together, make a package deal, and I'll throw a bag of coffee on it. And we can combine the two and make like Christmas packages.
I'm liking it.
How brilliant of an idea.
I'm
Like
liking
the
it.
it's like the apple in the tree. I reached up and plucked it down. See that? So everybody keep on the lookout. You may have books and coffee coming your way.
I'm liking it.
Yeah. So that's it's a thinker. I've also got We're also, Dawn and I, she unfortunately had to take one of our dogs to the vet, but we're getting ready to go on a book tour. And it's going to be the next 12 months. We're doing a lot of horror conventions and true crime conventions. And we're going to be up in your area. And there's a couple. You can check the dates on the website. I don't have them with me handy on creepycoffees.com. And the ones that are close to you or you want to travel to, I would like to give you an open invitation to come and hang out. Bring your book. Let's try to promote that as well as my coffee and my book. And teach me, let answer my questions that I have. Let's take it to the people. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be interesting. It'll be exciting. And you being the Royal Highness that you are, dun dun
You remember
dun.
that butter commercial, right? You know what that
Yeah,
clown used to
yeah.
pop when people said?
Oh, I
I'm gonna give
forgot
you one of
about
them.
that. That
Dun,
or
dun,
margarine.
dun.
It was margarine or something like that.
It's not butter. It's
Yeah,
margarine.
I'm gonna go ahead and find the picture and edit it in here.
Oh man, the wheels have already come off, and we're on episode 1 with me.
Right? Exactly. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down because we'll just go on all day. Um, your Royal Highness, D. Paul
Dun, dun,
Fleming.
dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun. All of
This
his
is
books
serious
are.
stuff, man. Be serious.
Yeah, it is. Knock your shit off.
Serious stuff, man.
His books are available on Amazon, eBay, I would imagine, and audiobooks as well, he says. There's that one. There's the VA one. What was the a date with suicide and 2442 steps to crazy the beginning.
You want to
So
read a book that'll scare the hell out of you? And this is a true story.
that one, there you go. So just in time for Halloween. So with that being said, do you have a website?
No, I shut all that down. I'm too lazy. I don't
Okay,
feel like I just don't
gotcha.
want to do the work. I keep getting people keep asking me to host podcasts. And I don't feel like doing the work. I'm happy to talk. Happy to talk. All you talking to you shut me up. I just
Sure.
don't want to be behind the scenes.
Sure. No, totally get it. Well, I do my own websites as well, so we'll talk about that too. Especially like if we do coffee and books together, we'll talk. Anyway, but with that being said, Your Royal Highness, D. Paul Fleming, it's been a pleasure, and we will see you soon and talk again, okay?
Yes, sir. Keep the faith.
Thank
Keep
you.
moving forward.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us tonight on Creepy Coffees. We explore the dark corners so you don't have to go alone. And if this case chilled you like it chilled us, give us a follow, drop a review, and share the show with someone who loves a mystery. Grab your merch, check out our haunted coffee reviews, and explore our ghost hunting adventures at creepycoffees.com. We're also on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Come say hi. We're always brewing up something new and exciting.
Because whether it's a cold case or a cup of coffee left untouched, some stories are meant to linger. And remember, every ghost story deserves a good cup of coffee. And as always, be good to each other and stay creepy.